Conservation Agent, Andrew St. George, our Recreation Director, Robin Grimm, our Town Administrator, and my glasses, Jacqueline Burmeister, our Assistant DPW Director. And we are here tonight to talk about the Dowdy property that we received through a generous donation from Peter O'Connell. And this is a piece of property that we've had on our list of plans for many, many years. I've been here almost 21 years, and it's been on our plans for 25 years at least that we've wanted to acquire this piece of property. So it was extremely generous of Mr. O'Connell, and I'd like to repeat it again that we thank him for that generous donation. So those of you that were at the special town meeting know that we appropriated funds to do a conceptual master plan. And the purpose of that plan is so that we know we have competing ideas, or not competing, but we have many ideas for the property. Maybe recreational fields, as it's great to see some of the athletic community here, the recreation community. We don't often get to see a lot of you, so it's nice to see the turnout tonight. You know that.
Don't yell at them, they're just having fun.
We have a lot of students here tonight, which is great. We're also going to have an activity for the students. We have some members of the Trails Committee here. We know there's good options for connectivity. We also know that there are some areas that maybe are best left preserved on this piece of property. And we also know there's some agricultural history that bears preserving, or at least repeating, so that people have understanding of that. So with that, we've hired Par Corporation, and they're a multidisciplinary team, and they bring with them a lot of knowledge and experience in regards to traffic issues, wetland issues, civil engineering issues, and planning. So we're pleased this evening that we have Adrienne Lennon with us, and she's been with Par Corporation since 2025. However, she's an experienced environmental scientist and program manager with over 15 years of experience in wetland science, permit coordination, design review, climate resilience planning, water resource management, and technical assistance across public, private, and nonprofit sectors. So we're pleased that she's leading up this project for us. We also have Annalise Boylan Cobley. After joining Par Corporation in 2019, Ms. Cobley has worked on a variety of land development and planning projects with Rhode Island. Her work includes civil and site engineering projects for K-12 facilities and higher ed facilities. She specializes in stormwater management and athletic uses, so she's very appropriate for this project as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Par team, and they'll lead you through a presentation, and then we'll get a little less crowded as we all cycle through workstations. And we're going to try to get all the children over here to work on a project because we need the room that they are in. So once we get through the presentation, we'll ask the children to come back over in this section and work with Janae on a project. So thank you. Pat, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Jean, and thank you all for coming out tonight. I know standing room only, it's going to get warm in this room, so I will try to speak as quickly as possible through the slides so we can get moving on the desktop and tabletop exercise. So again, Dowdy Road Property Conceptual Master Plan is the project that the town has hired Par to develop for you. A little bit about Par as background, a little bit more. It's multidisciplinary civil. We have a transportation group, a site civil group. We do buildings and structures and site. We have a geotechnical group that works largely on dams and water resources, and in addition to that, nested inside is a waterfront group, and then also an environmental engineering group. Inside of those services are, the services that I head up. I manage the Natural Resources Group, which is a team of environmental scientists and planners. We serve all of our engineers in terms of planning and permitting and supporting design review for the projects. There are multiple other services inside of Par Corporation, but I'm not going to go too deep into that tonight because it's not necessarily specific to this plan, but this planning exercise is really going to benefit from the fact that we were able to pull expertise from all over the company to come out and take a look at the project and look at the site and bring that to the schematic design master planning process. So you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So on the team, again, myself, I'm Adrienne. I'm the Managing Environmental Scientist and Planner running the Natural Resources Group at PAR, and Annalise is an engineer and also a burgeoning planner at PAR Corporation. So we have two different lenses through which we're looking at this. I have a tremendous background in land use management planning, specifically in municipal government and municipal properties, and Annalise is coming at this with the lens of engineering development for communities, largely schools and public lands, facilities, things like that. So it's good pairing for us to be able to have a conversation at each of these tables tonight. So the agenda tonight is just very quickly to go over the project timeline, what the goals of the projects are themselves, talk a little bit about the Dowdy Road property. I know I don't need to introduce it to any of you. You're all very familiar with it. But just a little bit of information around what you'll be seeing on the tabletops tonight. And then we'll break out into these groups for visioning session and then come back with a couple of final questions for the whole group that aren't necessarily captured inside of those worksheets. And you can advance. So for the master plan project, we began with a kickoff meeting in May with everybody that was introduced earlier by Jean, that is working at the town and also will be working in the tabletop exercises. And then the two of us and a couple of other members of the PAR team sat down and just started talking about, what the land acquisition looked like, what the project looked like, what the goals were, how we were going to divide up the parcels and look at the parcels, and how we would actually conduct this whole public outreach exercise and incorporate that into the design alternatives that we'll be coming up with for the master planning process. So in that process, we also scheduled a site view where myself and Annalise and another wetland scientist and one of our GIS analysts came out, spent a whole day walking the site. We took a look at all of the borders and tried to identify all the stone walls, looked at the vegetative communities, looked at existing uses, past uses, existing structures, did a little bit of trail cutting, we'll say, on the south parcel. There's a beautiful mountain laurel stand down there, but not very easy to navigate. And really documented everything that we could see out there to really get to know the terrain very, very well. And then that led us to this conversation tonight, where we have topic-focused workstations for you all to provide us with feedback on the parcel. And then we'll be taking all of that information in, studying it, coming up with some qualitative data findings, and using that also to come up with 3 alternatives of schematic design for future uses of the parcel. After we have come up with those 3 alternatives, we'll bring them back to the town project team for review, for findings, see if there's a real standout on that, and then we'll bring that back to the community for a second visioning session, and that's on July 29th, same time, same place, hopefully same group of people, and not any warmer. Where we'll be able to share with you, everything that we've learned and what we've been able to document in the master plan and report. And then the final deliverable will come through in August, assuming all things go well and everybody feels like they've been heard and we've captured all the information from the community to be able to incorporate it into the plan. You can advance. So existing conditions on the site, you're all very familiar with it. I just want you to know when you're looking at this tabletop exercise, what we're looking at are north and south parcels. So prior to, I think just a couple of weeks ago, this was multiple parcels, I think as many as 16. Recently, there's been an A&R to separate it into two large parcels. You have really big bubbles to look at. We've included that so you can really see the boundaries, and then you can also see the surrounding lands and landscape on these maps. We've also approximately identified the location of the wetland on the maps, and we've run a 100-foot buffer around those wetlands, so you have a sense of where limitations may be in terms of development and what permitting implications may be in place. There's also, as you get closer to it, you'll see a 500-foot buffer around those wetlands, and that is your local bylaw jurisdiction for locations where there is a significant change in slope. So I'm sure you all know the site is extremely steep in some locations, and so the cut and fill and grading for any kind of development on this site is probably going to be pretty significant, and we want to be keeping that in mind when we're looking at what it will take to get something like that through permitting. So that is what you'll see on the tabletop, and then you can advance the slide again. At each station, you have a worksheet. We're looking at this by topics. So we have 4 different topics. The first is passive recreation activities, and you can think of things like walking, nature photography, yoga, playing games, picnicking, some things that don't require the development of facilities and ideally would be accessible to any members of the community. So we want to gather some feedback on where you would cite those things on the parcel and other places in the community or in the larger region where there are those kinds of destinations that you would like to see happen on this parcel. The next station is going to be the active recreation activities, and that's kind of a neat desktop exercise where we have cut out little squares and shapes for you for specific field types, and you can try and, navigate what that might look like on different parts of the property, and we'll take pictures of that. So we have a real sense from everybody in the fields community here, our court community, just the rec community at large that I know is really interested in this piece of it. Can try and puzzle it a little bit on your own, and we'll document that as well. That particular tabletop is also going to have a zoomed in map for you to view, and that figure is really just showing the easiest grading kind of section of the parcel where there's an existing agricultural field. So you can work in that space as well. And then actually in the far room in the back here, and then also, or that's the front of the building, the far room in the front, and then in the far room in the back, are 2 more tabletop exercises. One is specifically focused on conservation land, and we want you to be thinking about connectivity in the region with other existing parcels that are either open as public lands or they're held as chapter lands and maybe good locations for future planning efforts for things like trails or other connective pathways, or also for wildlife and for habitat conservation. And then the 4th one is going to be on land management needs, and that's specifically thinking about as a community, if you're investing in this parcel and the maintenance of it, are there some interesting ideas around ways that you could utilize parts of the property, or what are the trade-offs necessarily in terms of land management? We want to make sure we're gathering that feedback. There's definitely going to be a conversation around parking and the need for parking around this. So as you go through all of the stations, think about that. That's something that we probably will try to capture in the back as opposed in the back, land management room as opposed to inside the active recreation conversation, because we really want to just focus on, the siting of those fields. So on the back side of every single worksheet, there is space provided for additional comments, testimonial, feedback, anything like that. Please do include that. We will be using that and incorporating that into the plan and taking that deeply into consideration. The questions and things that you see on the worksheets are really just prompts. So if you think of other things that we didn't think of, definitely share that with us. We really want to know. And you can advance again. With that, we have 2 very small rooms and many, many people. So ideally, we would try to fit around 15 people into this room in the back, in the back, and this room in the front. And then, kind of have the rest gather around tabletop exercises. We're all adults here, so I think if maybe just the first 15 people up in the front want to try and start over here, and we'll see how these rooms accommodate that space, and then those that remain, if you can stay at these 2 larger tables, we can go ahead and get started.
Do you want me to
Thank
bring
you.
the kids into the corner
Yeah,
here
let's
for
put the
now?
kids
Let's
over
get
here.
the kids over here. Stick the kids in the corner. I was going to point.
Front of the room. So you guys are going to go around this whole section. Go down this way.
Right over here.
Yeah, all the kids up front. We want to try to give 12 minutes to each station. Okay, and then we'll rotate.
Wait, do it again in here. Oh no!
Okay, fantastic. So thank you all for participating in the exercise. I really hope you had an opportunity to look at this 222 acres in a few different ways and got some new ideas or some different ideas or shared ideas with your neighbors and with your community about what could potentially go into the future of this parcel. We're really excited to read this feedback. So I do have a stack of worksheets right up here at the front that are filled out. When you are finished, please do deliver them to us, and then on your way out the door, please make sure that you did sign in so we have your information included there. So just a show of hands, a couple of questions that didn't come up on the worksheet, but that we wanted to make sure we captured in this conversation here. The first is, what's one park element that you love within or near Sturbridge? And would that element be a good fit for the Dowdy Road property? And we're thinking specifically about things like community identity and public art. You know, if there's like a logo or an icon for Sturbridge or for the neighboring area that you think would be really nice to see on an entryway or in some way symbolized in Dowdy Road, we really want to hear about that. So, feel free to raise your hand now, and we'll just write that down and make sure we capture that. And next question is, how has parking or traffic impacted your user experience at other parks or recreation facilities in town? So, we are focusing very much on this parcel. We have, of course, read this grassroots town open space and recreation plan that was just completed. Is really phenomenal. But also, we want to try to gather that information as part of this exercise too, and take that into consideration when we're going into the alternatives for schematic design. And then the third is, what elements contribute to underutilization of other parks or facilities? And can those proposed conditions at this subject site help alleviate those concerns? So feel free to raise your hand. I will just call on you, and we'll make sure we make notes there. Go ahead.
One thing that I think
You need to bring the microphone to
fields that were being used are not being used completely because we don't have a way to track who's in charge and what schedule is things. So I think a good schedule of some sort of using those fields would be helpful to better utilizing all of the fields.
I guess I look at this in two ways. The first is the element that I love is the multi-purpose fields we have in town, but the town of Sturbridge owns 0 of those. So all of the multi-purpose fields in town are controlled by the Union 61 School District. They're becoming more and more difficult to access. Meanwhile, our leagues are growing by 30 to 40%. So for me, as I think about what to put at Dowdy Road, 3 to 4 multi-purpose fields would be my top priority, because it's just a challenge that we've pushed down the line so many times that it's now creating a crisis for our leagues.
Thanks for that. Anybody? Hands? Oh, right here.
I think a lot of the traffic in town, and our lack of sidewalks makes it hard to get to some recreational spaces. Like, you have to load, bikes into cars and to drive there because it's unsafe, because there's no sidewalks or bike lanes on a lot of our roads. And then also the traffic on Route 20 makes it nearly impossible to get across town to make it to practice on time. So I don't know what the solution for that is, but it is.
Definitely a factor.
Come on the 16th for the DOT meeting.
across town.
I don't know how many years ago, Charlie, was it 4, 5, 6 years ago, when we turned down 4 fields at the town barn? We have 35 acres at the town barn. It's still there. And we have a plan that we paid $250,000 for. And we walked out of the residents, turned it down by 4 to 6 votes. I don't know the exact number. So somebody should look at that as you're going forward. I'm not saying, we need ball fields. That isn't my point. My point is that was a really good plan, and we were almost there. And it hits the points of being more in town, for a lot of us, blah, blah, blah. But I think it should be looked at as part of this.
Go ahead, anybody.
I believe some of the funding that is put aside for recreation can also be used for different things other than just trails and stuff like that. So we need to be able to tap into some of those funds as well.
I think it's important to note, and I just also want to thank whoever did childcare today. Okay? When you look at them, when it comes to town voting, we do not have that. That's an important consideration when you're thinking about the citizens who can show up. What does that mean for a citizen to show up? So I think that's really important to think of here. The fact that you took care of the community for this discussion, I think a lot of the families here appreciate. So I just want to call that out and say thank you.
Great, thank you.
Babysitting at town meeting.
And can I tell you right now, our DPW director is holding court.
Full attention. Yes.
Very versatile.
She's actually trying to see who can drive a plow.
But I want to add to that point, like, I cannot come to town meetings on a Monday night, like, late with my 3 children. Like, it's impossible for me to come have a voice. The only time I manage it is when my mom disenfranchises herself, for me to be able to go.
I know we've tried in the past, and I'm not opposed to trying again to getting childcare. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. People don't always bring them, but I do know for a lot of parents of recreational age, have children, and if we're talking about 6 or 7 votes on a project, a lot of times that's the difference.
That can.
I just wanted to add to something Ed said. At that particular meeting, we already had the plan. We already had the plan. I believe we organized childcare through the student council, I want to say, at Tantascwa. So parents didn't show. If both parents had showed up, we would have already been enjoying fields where they already have fields presently. And no houses around, we wouldn't have gotten pushback. But both parents did not show up.
Because it's late, I think that's the problem, it's a school night.
Well,
It's late 'cause it's always during
but we
school.
tried to organize childcare. And I used to drag our son, now he's 29, but he was 10, and he used to go along with me to the meetings. But we did try to organize, and we would, be willing to do it again. But again, it's in the hands of residents.
So I'm gonna buffer this question and say I 100% want fields. 100% want fields. It's the thing I want the most. My community in general. That being said, nothing we're talking about here is about monetizing this property in any way for the town. The only thing we're thinking about is recreation. Are we limited to the uses of this property to only things that are just recreational usages? I mean, is it possible we could gain more funding and revisit this field set, which is potentially logical for implementation of sports fields in that part of town, and at the same time this becomes more of a, solar farm where we could effectively infuse cash funding to our community through the usage of this land? I'm not saying we should do this, but I'm saying nobody's proposing anything in the direction other than just recreational usages of the land. So it's just a thought I want to throw out to her. I mean, is it a pile of gold under that rock? I don't know. It seems like weird that nobody's going that direction at all.
So as I mentioned earlier, the property was donated to the town for the purpose of open space and recreation.
But limited to this function.
It is.
Fair enough.
Okay, we have time for 1 or 2 more questions, and then if you have more thoughts or comments, hopefully you still have a worksheet in front of you. You can make sure you jot that down and turn it in to me here. I'll also have my card up here if you want to take it, and make sure you sign in the back.
So I haven't actually utilized, or for number 1 at least, for things that I'd love to do around Sturbridge. I haven't necessarily done this myself, but seeing some of the places around our neighborhoods, like in Auburn, there's a big giant bubble for indoor soccer and other things like that. For all times of the year would be great. Also, as far as monetizing the space, you could do something that brings people into town, such as botanical gardens. You could do a ropes course that would bring people. I don't know any ropes courses that are even nearby. Something that is unique to this area that would draw people in could definitely like bring funding to the town.
I think the ball fields are a great idea. I've always thought that. But I also think that other activities are necessary as well. And as far as they're active but they're passive. Music, a music venue. I was thinking even something simple like an amphitheater type of thing. And I mentioned in the other room there, we had a place in Wells, Maine, and they had a nice bandstand like we have in the Common here, but they had circular seats going around it, and that was just a nice use of the space, and it wasn't really, you were paying for the power and the lights. That was about it. So that's one thing to be thinking about on that way. And also, you think about this, this whole area is at least 900 feet above sea level. And on that hill, looking west, it's probably the only place around beside Dresser Hill in Charlton where you're going to have a view of the sunset. So you're going to have parking up there, and you're going to have parking up there, if you get my drift. And so I think there'd be something that it's a very passive thing to be doing, but it's to think along those lines, and along with the ball fields too, which are very, very important.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. We had a great conversation. This is a tough conversation to have as a community. You have a lot of options. It's very unusual to come up with an opportunity like this in such a large parcel. So your engagement really makes a huge difference. It informs us tremendously. And we will be back on July 29th to share all of our findings and our ongoing conversation with the project team at the town, and really, really appreciate it. So enjoy the rest of your evening. And we'll see you soon.